me, this is a lot of fun talking about your dad because sometimes I get questions about him, but this is all about him. I like it. He's quite a person.
Oh, that's so nice. All right.
You have said about my dad, there will never be another friend like Dennis. He was a magic man. Can you tell me your favorite memory of my dad?
There are many. During our recording sessions in Berlin, say for instance, Hansa Studios. Hansa was a huge studio, but there was no window between the control room and the studio. They had instead a closed-circuit TV. And after every take, the band would come in, walk down the hallway, and come in to listen.
I will be king. You will be queen.
Dennis, and then we look up at the TV screen, and your dad was in front of the closed-circuit TV camera doing a TV show, just for our amusement. He was just like pretending he was a newscaster, then he was doing some comedic things, but we couldn't hear him because the microphones were all turned off. And he knew that. He was making us laugh, basically. He was part of the team, but he was a great guy.
Can you tell me about his drumming on Heroes album?
Yes. Dennis's drumming on Heroes album was very different from Low. But Heroes, we went to Berlin, and Heroes is the only album that was all recorded in Berlin. It was started and finished in Berlin. Unlike Low, Heroes had more lengthier songs written. It wasn't jams so much. David and Brian Eno had specific ideas for songs. They had song structures, not too many words yet. And Heroes, in fact, was probably the most jammed song on the album. Heroes was about 7 minutes of these three sections that David and Brian came up with and played over and over again. So what we were looking to get out of it was a 3-minute song, 3.5-minute song, but we just kept playing it over and over again. And this is where your dad kind of played very simply. I had Heroes up the other day, and I was thinking of examples of his drumming to play for you, but he didn't do anything special like you would say. That's Dennis Davis playing. But Blackout.
Listen, the doctors have been told someone's back in town, the chips are down. I'm just coming back out. I'm under Japanese influence and my honor's at stake.
This is where he had the conga drum next to his tom-toms, and he'd go around his tom kit and start playing a bit of the fill on the conga drum, which is normally played with 2 hands, no sticks. And he gave the illusion that he was playing the drums and it was a separate conga drum player, but it was actually, he played the congas as part of his rhythm. He could play snare, kick drum, hi-hat and all that, then he can go over and play a little rhythm on the conga drum. Again, I never saw a drummer play like that. So David says, like, get me to the doctor! And then there's this wacky drum fill. he broke into new territory on some of these. There was a song called Beauty and the Beast, where his style was very, very different and very jazz-like, and very much on a playing the bell of the ride cymbal very, very quickly. You know, it suffices to say that his drumming, his own personal drumming, for David Bowie, took a bit of a, went up several levels. Where in Low he was just feeling himself around, and he did it in a great way. He was more positive on Heroes. He was definitely creating something really magic, really special.
Down the highway, sing the song. That's my kind of Bowie. Gone wrong. Bye bye, smile at least. You can't say now to the beauty and the beast. There's something in the night, something in the day. Now nothing is wrong, but darling, someone's in the way. There's slaughter in the air, protest on the wind. Someone deep inside me, someone could get scared. How? My, someone fetch a priest. You can't say now to the beauty and the beast, darling.
Harmonizer came back on Heroes as well, but not during the playing. He didn't hear the harmonizer this time. We just added the harmonizer on the mix, which he could do.
What kind of drummer was Dennis Davis?
He was a multi-talented drummer. He could fit in many styles. And a lot of great drummers are like that. They could play a rock session, they could play a jazz session, and he was schooled in jazz, but I think jazz is the most difficult music in the world to play. It's even harder than, I'd say for a percussionist, it's even harder than classical music. And your dad not only played drums, he could play percussion instruments like conga drums, and all, which he did. But whatever he did, he played extremely well, and he added something. This is what I loved about his drumming. He added something that you never heard before. Because his mind was so vast and so mercurial. He was like really smart and really fast thinker. He would just pull something out of his mind from a jazz session he might have played years ago, or maybe from a Charlie Mingus record that he heard. David Bowie song.
Rebel, rebel, it's on your dress and your rebel, rebel, your face is a mess and your rebel, rebel, how could they know? Hot tramp, I love you so, ooh yeah, love you so.
about him. He played unexpected things. Another thing about your dad, which was remarkable, was his sense of timing. His timing was metronomic. So if he counted a song off like 1, 2, 3, 4, and he started playing, and he kept tapping your foot, if you went to the end of the record, it was still that beat. You know, most drummers, it's normal, it's human, most drummers speed up. You know, musicians tend to speed up when they get more excited, and they play, the end of the song is usually faster than the beginning. With your dad, it was exactly the same. And what's even more remarkable, it was the same on different days of the week. I'll tell you why. Once I was mixing a David Bowie album, a live album called Stage, and I only had maybe 2 or 3 concerts, one in Boston, one in New York, one in Philadelphia, and one in Rhode Island. It was 4. But then we had a track, a very long song, where the beginning of it was fantastic in Philadelphia. But the ending of it wasn't so good. It fell to pieces. You know, something went wrong. And it wasn't a studio recording. We couldn't bring people back into the studio and correct their mistakes. So I went to the Rhode Island take, and it sounded the same, but I was worried. Is the tempo the same? Is it still like that? It was exactly the same tempo. If you go back and listen to it, at some point I mixed Philadelphia here, and then Rhode Island here, and with the tape, I made a razor blade cut on a drum beat, and I put the 2 pieces of tape together, and the sound, not only did the sound match up perfectly, but so did the timing. So I have never met another drummer who has the timing as good as your dad had.
Once there were mountains and mountains, once there were sunbirds to soar with, and once I could never be down. I've got to keep searching and searching. Oh, what will I be believing? And who will connect me with love? Wonderful, wonderful, wonder when have you sought fortunes evasive and shy? Well, drink to the men who protect you and I. Oh, drink, drink, raise a glass, oh. Of the cocaine, I'm thinking that it must be love. It's too late to be grateful. It's too late to be late again. It's too late to be hateful. The European canon is here. Well, I must be only one in a million, 'cause I can't pass a day without her. It's too late to be grateful. It's too late. It's too late to be hateful. The European canon is here. To believe that I'm instigated. That's my face.
That's quite remarkable that he played the same tempo in both cities. And there's nothing like, it was no click track. You know, nowadays you have an electronic, you hear that in your head, and drummers play to that. That didn't exist when we made this recording. That was just your dad's internal clock, which beat really, really strongly.
Kiss
Absolute Ruhe, bitte.